Hello guys, welcome. It's October, and that means it's not only spooky season, but it's also officially a Veilguard fall. And what better way to celebrate that than to talk about one of the most spooky organizations in Dragon Age, the Mortalitasi. At first, I was going to make this a history of video like my other history videos in this series, but we actually don't really know much about their history. So instead, to get ourselves into a proper spooky mood, we're going to be looking at all things Mortalitasi in today's video. When and why they were founded, how the order works, and what role they will play in Veilguard. So grab yourself a nice pumpkin spice latte and let's talk about the Mortalitasi. This video contains spoilers for the Winter Night stories Down Among the Dead Men, Murder by Death Mages, and A Dread Wolf Take You. The Mortalitasi, also commonly called Death Mages, are an organization from Nevarra. They actually wield considerable political power and influence thanks to their close ties to the Nevarran royal family, ties that go all the way back to when the order was founded. In the Mid-Glory Age, back when Nevarra was still a marcher city-state, it was ruled by King Ionis. Ionis's leadership was weak, however. So weak, in fact, that many of his advisors felt the city-state would be better off under the rule of Orlais or Starkhaven. In order to avoid Nevarra's destruction by Ionis's incompetence or submission to a foreign nation, a man by the name of Caspar Pentagast deposed the king and seized the throne in 246 Glory. As king, Caspar employed a Tevinter mage by the name of Vitus Fabria as his personal advisor. We really don't know anything about who Vitus really was or what they did, except for one thing. Vitus had some unique beliefs regarding the souls of the dead. The common belief in Thedas for most cultures is that when a person dies, their soul leaves their body and passes through the veil into the Fade. Vitus believed that every time that happens, the soul displaces a Fade spirit, and founded the Order of the Mortalitasi based on that belief. The Order remains close to the Nevarran royals to this day, and are well respected within the kingdom. Even the nobility commonly employ Mortalitasi mages as their advisors. But not everyone holds the Mortalitasi in such high regard. Many outside the Kingdom of Nevarra fear the Order, and think they are actually a death cult performing dark and horrifying rituals in the Grand Necropolis. Some even claim that the current ruler of Nevarra, Marcus Pentagast, is too old and weak to rule by himself, and that it's actually his Mortalitasi advisors that are ruling the country through him. Which is a bit ironic given what Caspar Pentagast's opinions were of King Ionis so many years ago. Going back to the Mortalitasi though, what do they actually do? Does their order really perform such evil and scary rituals down in the Grand Necropolis? Well, it is true that the order experiments with necromancy and studies death extensively. Inviting wisps from across the veil is not an uncommon practice for your average Mortalitasi member, and some keep skeletal assistants or even skeletal horses as mounts. But as I mentioned earlier, the basics of the Mortalitasi are based on the belief that souls of the dead displace spirits when they cross over into the Fade. In order to give these displaced spirits a home, the Mortalitasi invite them into the empty, mummified bodies left behind after the soul has crossed over. This practice has become the norm in Nevarra, as opposed to other Andrastian nations who burn their dead in order to specifically prevent possession. But in Nevarra, the carefully preserved bodies are kept in elaborate tombs. And I really mean elaborate. Wealthy Nevarrans spend decades building their own tombs, even including things like ballrooms, bathhouses, and gardens. One of such elaborate tombs is the Grand Necropolis. The Grand Necropolis is an incredibly large mausoleum, almost large enough to be an entire city in and of itself. To be interred in the Grand Necropolis is considered an honor, and many noble and royal families have their own crypts there. For example, the body of Caspar Pentagast sits in a massive throne room with a golden crown on his head and a silver sword on his lap. I think it's safe to say the Nevarrans put almost as much effort into material goods for the dead as they do for the living. Maybe even more. The undead guardians and shifting geography of the lower crypts are great for keeping unwanted visitors out, and special wards inside the crypts make premature possession near the necropolis almost impossible. But sometimes things do go wrong. Spirits sometimes get very invested in the personal, unfinished affairs of their host, and that can cause issues. In those cases, it is up to the Mournwatch to solve those issues. The Mournwatch is an order within the Mortalitasi, and they serve as the keepers and guardians of the Grand Necropolis. Any magic gone wrong related to corpse possession and funerary rites, the Mournwatch are the ones to call. A great example is the events in the Tavern Night story Down Among the Dead Men, where the body of Lord Penric Karn gets prematurely possessed during his funeral. Audric Fellhausen, a Nevarran city guardsman assigned to watch over the funeral, gets attacked by the Pride Demon now possessing Lord Karn's body. After the attack, Audric helps Mournwatchers Myrna and Emmerich track the angered spirit down and put it to rest. During their investigation, they learn that Karn was killed in a mutually fatal duel with Duke Janus von Markham, which means there technically wasn't a clear winner, as they both died. This causes the Pride Demon possessing Karn's body to seek out the Duke's crypt in the lower reaches of the necropolis so they can finish the duel properly. It is around this time that Audric learns that he is actually a spirit possessing Audric's body, and that the real Audric died during the attack at the funeral. When Audric and Myrna confront Lord Karn, they manage to convince him to duel Audric instead. It's only fair since he is the one that killed Audric. But pride is a cheat, and indeed, Lord Karn breaks the rules of his own duel by using magic, and Myrna ends up destroying Karn's body, and with it, the demon. Now that Lord Karn has been dealt with, the two return to Emmerich's study where Myrna offers Audric the role of librarian under her supervision, and he accepts. The Mortalitasi's concerns aren't just with the dead, though. As I mentioned early on in the video, they are also very involved in Nevarran politics. And with politics, things get messy. In the Tevinter Night story Murder by Death Mages, Cassandra Pentagast orders Inquisition agent Sidonie, a mage who was raised by a Mortalitasi member, to return to Navarra City and investigate rumors of a Mortalitasi plot to assassinate a member of Navarra's already unstable line of succession. When she returns to Navarra City, she discovers that her former mentor, Lord Henrik, the one that gave the Inquisition a tip about the assassination, has been murdered. During Sidonie's investigation at a party hosted by Nicholas Reinhardt, a Nevarran noble, several other nobles get killed and the blame gets put on the Mortalitasi. Sidonie eventually finds out that it was actually Nicholas who was behind the murders of the nobles, and pinned their murders on the Mortalitasi to cause damage to their reputation. At the same time, a Mortalitasi mage by the name of Antonia killed Nicholas's wife and Sidonie's former mentor, and used her to expose Nicholas's plot in order to strengthen the Mortalitasi's reputation and their influence over the king. Sidonie ends up killing both Nicholas and Antonia. In the Tevinter Night story Dreadwolf Take You, a Mortalitasi mage attends a meeting of Thedas' best spies called by Inquisition Spy Charter to share information about Solus and his plans to bring down the Veil. The mage, a Carta assassin, an executor, and an Orlesian bard all meet with Charter at a tavern to share their information. The mage tells them how she used the Red Lyrium idol as a part of a ritual with a Tevinter mage. While in the Fade, she was confronted by the Dreadwolf, which she claims looked like a six-eyed lupine beast with flaming wings, the size of a high dragon. He told her that her reckless use of his idol threatened all of creation, and warned her that if she bound any more spirits, her life would be forfeit. Back in the real world, she was attacked by a horde of spirits pouring in through a rift that had opened after the ritual had failed. Both the Carta assassin and the Mortalitasi, as well as the executor, are killed by the Orlesian bard, who turns out to be Solus in disguise. So that's all the current information on the Mortalitasi, and everything related to them. We already know we're going to be seeing them to some extent, and of course we will be working closely with the Mournwatch, as Emmerich Volkeren is one of our companions, and our Rook can choose them as their faction during character creation. As for other Mortalitasi/Mournwatch members we might see in Veilguard, I think there's a pretty big chance we'll see both Myrna and Audric at some point because of their connection with Emmerich, as well as Johanna Hetzenkos, who I think can be seen briefly in the release date reveal trailer. Johanna is one of Emmerich's friends and a character introduced in the short story The Flame Eternal. And now that we're on the topic of short stories, I've actually narrated all of the Dragon Age short stories. Each has its own separate video and I will be releasing all of them throughout the weeks leading up to Veilguard. I've probably already released one or two depending on when this video goes up, and I'll make sure to link to the one for the Flame Eternal here once I've uploaded that one. But yeah, the Mournwatch and the Mortalitasi as a whole are a pretty interesting faction, and we don't actually know that much about them yet, so I'm looking forward to learning more about them and their spooky secrets in Veilguard. Who knows? Maybe I will be able to do a full history of the Mortalitasi video one day. For now though, this is all you need to know about the Mortalitasi before playing Veilguard. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, let me know by liking this video. Or leave a comment and let me know what you think of the Mortalitasi. Are you going to make your Rook a Mournwatcher? If you are interested in more lore and all things Dragon Age, make sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a single one of my videos. If you want to support the channel, check out my Patreon, or join my Discord server if you want to have a chat sometime. That's it for now though, thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one.